Hello, everyone. I was saying the other day, and I found a kind of perfect illustration from a very reliable source of what I was saying the other day when I said Ukrainians, as they watched France, Jordan, the United Kingdom, and America all defend Israel so no one in Israel died, when Iran shot 300 drones and some missiles at them. So when Ukrainians watched this, that made them feel slighted. That's literally what I said in the video the other day, when broken down to its lowest common denominator. And someone posted something about an hour ago that perfectly illustrates what I'm saying. And it's right from the horse's mouth. So one of the things I'm trying to say is I didn't read this and then base my opinion on it. I read regular Ukrainians, people that post about that war every single day, all day, because they care. I based what I said on that. Hello, Mary, is that Australia? Australia is such a cool place. Such cool people. Lee Priest, one of my favorite bodybuilders. When I was into weightlifting and stuff, I never got that big, not even close. But Lee Priest, Australian bodybuilder. One of the best physiques in bodybuilding that I've ever seen. And I hate to say this about the man, because I dig the man. He's a cool dude. He's on YouTube all the time, talking shit. He just says what he thinks. I don't agree with him on everything. He just says what he thinks. And the sport of bodybuilding did him a disservice, big time. He pissed off some people early on in his career. He said some things, which were true, but you dare not critique the judges in the sport you're trying to win at. Got to be real careful doing that. And Lee suffered the consequences, but he's doing just fine. I believe he runs some weightlifting equipment company. He's doing great. He's having a good old life. I see him on YouTube all the time. I watch his videos now and then because I find him cool and interesting. And again, one of my favorite bodybuilders. But I know I'm digressing like a motherfucker here, but I just really dig that dude. And if we want to talk about bodybuilding quickly, the best bodybuilders ever, Arnold would be number one, of course. Best physique ever. If you're talking about cut and shredded, that would be Frank Zane. Hands down. And Lee Priest is right up there. But I hate to say it, if he was just taller, if he was Arnold's height, he probably could have beat Arnold. Like, he was that good at what he did. But he was a smaller guy, so he had to fight that as well. But he still did damn well in bodybuilding, and his approach to the whole thing, and he knows what he's talking about, and he's been there, done that, and he's amazing at that sport. Amazing at turning his body into He-Man and shit. Always respected him. So that's another reason why I find Australia to be such a cool place. I listen to an Australian dude named Lee Priest talk on YouTube all the time. And I have a friend in Australia that's watched my channel for a long time. Anyway, I digressed way too much and too far. Bodybuilding and weightlifting is something I'm personally interested in. You probably don't give a fuck. I don't blame you. It's fucking boring to a lot of people. Anyway, so this gentleman whose post I'm about to read to you illustrates perfectly what I was saying the other day. And again, he posted this an hour ago. My video is from a day or two ago. So let's listen to him talk about what Ukraine thinks of what happened the other day. One more time. You saw about 4 different countries come defend Israel. And I wanted to say one of the things that they say in here, but I wasn't sure about it, so I just didn't say it. Israel is not a NATO country, so you don't have to worry about the whole NATO thing, where NATO is only allowed to get involved if certain criteria are met. I wanted to say that, but I wasn't sure. A smarter man is now fully educated me on the situation there. So let's read it. It's from Volodymyr Zelenskyy. I don't know if you know who that guy is. He's the president of Ukraine. And I respect him a lot because he was offered a ride out of Ukraine by some very powerful countries, one of them being the United States. And he basically said, fuck off, I need bullets. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't quite say it like that, but in other words, he's saying, I don't need a fucking ride, jerk off. I need bullets so I can get these fuckers out of my country that are trying to kill us. He could have taken the easy route, the cush life. Instead, he said, nope, I'm going to stay with my people and possibly die. You think he hasn't thought about that? Yeah, you think he hasn't thought about him possibly getting killed by the enemy? Of course he has. He probably thinks about it all the time. Because he's the main target. They'd love to get him. So, I have the highest respect for this man. And I don't personally tolerate shit talking about this man because it's all bloody lies. He's not a Nazi. He's a fucking Jew, for fuck's sake. The whole narrative that the Ukrainians are Nazis and Putin, the ex-KGB agent, is there to save people from the Nazis. If anyone believes that, I doubt there's one real human being that actually believes that and doesn't at least know in the back of their mind, yeah, that's propaganda. That's not real. Because it's not. So I don't really tolerate shit talking on this man. Because let me tell you something, our American leaders, as much as I like some of them and despise some of them, they would all be in a bunker, probably in another country, if they were facing what Zelenskyy was facing. Not probably, they definitely would be. And a bullet would never get near him. Zelenskyy, on the other hand, a bullet may get near him, because he's got balls. Anyway, let's read what he said, because it basically confirms what I was telling you, so you don't just think that I'm just pulling this stuff out of my ass from nowhere. It's real. It's going on. So Zelenskyy says, the entire world witnessed Allied action in the skies above Israel and neighboring countries. It demonstrated how truly effective unity in defending against terror can be when it is based on sufficient political will. Israel, the US, the UK, France, and Jordan acted together and with maximum efficiency. Together they prevented terror from prevailing, and they are working together and in coordination with others to prevent further escalation. Israel is not a NATO member, so no action such as triggering Article 5 was required, and no one was dragged into the war. They simply contributed to the protection of human life. Let me stop there. Let's talk about the NATO thing quickly. In order for NATO countries, it's a group of countries that basically say to each other, if you get attacked, we got your back. And every other country knows that. So if you're a NATO country and someone else isn't, and they want to attack you, they got to consider the fact, I might trigger the whole full NATO response where I got to fight 7 countries at once. That's a consideration for a non-NATO member who wants to start some shit with a NATO member. Israel is not a NATO member, so there's no criteria. It's just choices being made by allies. Jordan, France, UK, US. That's a straight up choice. There's no NATO triggering them into action because Israel's in NATO and Ukraine's not in NATO. Nope. And I don't understand why Ukraine has to beg, and it has to be a 20-year process for them to get in NATO. What's up with that? What's the fucking hold up? What, are you afraid to go to war with Vlad? Is that what it is? You don't want to have to take on that responsibility of shooting down Iranian drones and Russian missiles for Ukraine so they don't die? We don't want to take on that responsibility. Is that fair? No, it's not. And that's basically what's being said here. And that's basically what I was saying, how Ukrainians feel. This isn't fair. All you countries who are allies with Israel all came to Israel's aid despite them not being a NATO member, just like us. You could have chosen to come save us the same way you saved Israel right there. They feel slighted, and they should, and they're justified in their feelings. Exactly what I was trying to tell you people the other day. Let's read the rest of it. Shaheeds in the skies. That's how I pronounce it. I don't give a fuck how you pronounce it. Shaheeds in the skies. Those are drones. Iranian drones. Like I was saying in my other video. Again, this is confirming what I was telling you people. That it's real. It's happening. I'm not just pulling these things out of my ass. It's the leader of Ukraine saying this. Shaheeds in the skies above Ukraine sound identical to those over the Middle East. What's he saying? He's saying the same drones that are killing us Ukrainians are the same drones that are tried to kill Israelis the other night. That's what I was just saying the other day. Anyway, the impact of ballistic missiles, if they are not intercepted, is the same everywhere. European skies could have received the same level of protection long ago if Ukraine had received similar full support from its partners in intercepting drones and missiles. Terror must be defeated completely and everywhere, not more in some places and less in others. I thank everyone in the world, every leader and state who truly assists us with air defense and missiles necessary to protect our skies, as well as training our pilots on F-16s, who actually gave them some planes finally. It doesn't even sound like they got that going very much either. All of this already works and will continue to work to save lives. Well, according to that statement, maybe the F-16s are already operational and there's enough trained pilots to do some damage. However, we can now see how unity can work truly 100% and how almost 100% of Shaheeds and missiles can be intercepted. We will discuss it with our partners. What's this really saying when you break it down to the lowest common denominator? Zelenskyy is expressing in a nice way because he's a leader of a country and he's not a madman, sociopath, whatever, like so many other leaders of countries and candidates to be leader for countries. He's not one of those. So he's doing it the way you're supposed to do it, diplomatically saying, this is fucked up. Everyone mobilizes to help Israel. No one mobilizes to help us. Now, in Israel's defense, they don't border Russia, our main enemy, which will see us and all these countries shooting down Russian missiles and drones as an act of war. And they'll want to escalate somehow, because if they don't escalate somehow, they'll look weak. That's most likely what would happen. God knows what it could escalate to. Again, is Putin going to shoot a nuclear missile at Ukraine, his neighboring country, so he irradiates his own country immediately? No. Maybe he'd shoot it at something else as a threat. I don't know. So that's the problem for the Ukrainians. Everyone's walking on eggshells, afraid to escalate shit into World War III. Several, NATO or allied countries versus Russia and Iran and whoever would jump in on Russia's side if it escalated past just shooting down Russian missiles and Russian drones. That's the problem. That's why the help is like kind of there, but not there. That's why France and the United States and the UK aren't scrambling planes there to help out, because then it becomes almost literally a war with Russia. The United States at war with Russia, France at war with Russia, United Kingdom at war with Russia. That's why it's not done. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's fair. And all that's been allowed since 1945 are proxy wars. It's never just the United States against Russia. It's always got to be through some proxy war in a proxy country, I guess you could call it. That's all that's been allowed. Because the two biggest nuclear powers in the world, it's not a good idea for them to go to war directly. But again, Putin will never shoot a missile, a nuke at Ukraine. He just wouldn't do it. It'd be the dumbest thing he could ever do for his own country and himself. But again, these guys, these Ukrainians that have to deal with the animals from Russia, the military, they feel real slighted, and I don't blame them. And this just confirms everything I'm saying. This is the very leader of Ukraine saying exactly what I told you the other day, that this is how Ukrainians are feeling. Why aren't we getting this kind of help? And I personally think the Ukrainians deserve the help. They should have it yesterday. Because America's benefiting in this way. I've told you other reasons. We got them to make a deal to get rid of their weapons years ago, but let's talk about another reason. Russia is our main enemy, Vlad Putin and his military and his KGB, whatever you want to call it, apparatus. That's our main enemy on the globe. That's who we fight most since 1945. Militarily, they can't even compare to what we have, but they still have a lot of weapons. Not current, up-to-date weapons, but they have a lot of weapons. And soldiers, or they used to anyway, before they invaded Ukraine. The Ukrainian soldiers will do significant, and have done significant, damage to the Russian military, costing them money, time, effort, all kinds of stuff. That keeps them from meddling in American business around the world, where they're already meddling. They meddle every day with us here on social media, every day, all day, on all the major outlets, YouTube, Twitter, etc. So it gives them something else to focus on, raising money for weapons and begging North Korea for shit. You know what I mean? In other words, Ukraine would be doing damage, significant damage to Russian military capability. Not that they have much now, but you know what I'm saying. Our main enemy. That's another reason why they should be helped. They're taking care of our main enemy for us. No Americans have to go die doing it. And, you know, the Ukrainians didn't volunteer for this. We didn't goad them into it. They got invaded. They got no choice. They have to fight. But my main point is, Ukraine should feel slighted. The same drones that are tried to hit the Israelis are the same drones that are hitting the Ukrainians. So Iran and Russia are one. And the United States and Ukraine should be one. Because the Ukrainians deserve it. And there's plenty of weapons in the world. It'd be nice if those weapons could end up in the hands of people fighting a righteous cause. Why is their cause righteous? Why do I say that? Because again, all they want to do is exist as Ukrainians, as their own independent country, free of mobster KGB Putin and his murderous greed. I haven't even given the full story of what I read about from Ukrainians. And one of the things, there's a reason I say Vlad Putin is one of the most evil entities ever born. They're doing things like taking hostages back to Russia, children, shit like that. They take them to Russia for a while. Some are brought back. Some probably end up in sex trafficking, God knows what, whatever Vlad's and his buddies are involved in. Then they're brought back like months later or a year later. Well, the war hasn't been going on that long, but months later, and it's the Hitler stuff. There's an attempt at an eradication of culture going on. Eradicating it's right out of the Hitler playbook. Eradicating the Ukrainian culture, replacing it with the Russian culture. Even though they're countries right next to each other and probably have a lot of similar cultures, there's still some differences. And it's about more than differences. It's about a tyrant using the tyrant's playbook where, you're kidnapping people and re-educating them and putting them back into the population so you can use them for years. That's the type of shit Hitler would do. Re-education. God knows what they're doing to these people they round up and take away, just like the fucking Nazis did. The Russians call the Ukrainians Nazis all the time. Who are the real Nazis? Because the people I see using Hitler's playbook word for word are the Russians. Brainwashing, re-education, reprogramming, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. That type shit is going on. That's how deep it goes, and that's how evil what Russia is doing to Ukraine is. Besides all the barbarity against civilians and Ukrainian soldiers, there's that aspect as well. And it's just disgusting. That mindset that Putin has, again, that's the same mindset that Hamas and Muslim terror groups have. That Jews don't have the right to exist. And then they take hostages and bring them back to, their place. The same thing, same mentality, same type operation. Ethnic cleansing. People keep talking about genocide in Gaza. Well, the Israelis don't have a policy of genocide, though. That's not what they say publicly. That's the difference. The Muslim terror groups have a policy of genocide. Jews don't have the right to exist in their minds. The same policy of genocide that Vlad has for Ukrainians. I mean, that's what Vlad's trying to do there in Ukraine. Level everything, ruin Ukrainian society and culture to the point it doesn't exist, and just assimilate it into Russian culture and society via the machine gun. It's old school shit for another era of real tyrants like Adolf Hitler and Julius Caesar and, you know what I mean, people like Caligula, people like that. It's old school Hitler playbook shit. That's what's going on in Ukraine. And again, they deserve the help. It's disgusting what they're going through every single day. Just missiles all the time, raining down. At anything, any target. It doesn't even have to be remotely military. So I guess in closing, I'll just say I have a lot of respect for Zelenskyy, and he just confirmed everything I was telling you people the other day. And it's a shame that everyone jumps to defend Israel, but not Ukraine. And again, uh, it's also a shame that Ukraine borders Russia, because that's why everyone's scared to do anything, because they don't want World War III with Russia. Israel doesn't have that burden on its back that they border our main adversary in the world. So I don't see it changing much, but I do see eventually, once some traitors get removed from office in November, I see some more aid going to Ukraine, and shit will get back on track, as long as people don't vote more traitors into office that want to do Putin's bidding, because it gets them votes by a certain segment of society, and it gets them money possibly directly from Putin or one of his friends, or it gets them money, which I failed to talk about, money via exposure, by spouting the Russian talking points, joining the white nationalist thing, joining the anti-Ukraine thing. That's the right-wing grift, baby, again. And people will join that to make money. In other words, they don't have to be directly paid as a Russian asset or something. There's other advantages. Like I said, the advantages are exposure. People send donations. Your name gets out there when you do the right-wing grift, when you're Marge Green, when you're Bobo. That's what they want. They want exposure. They want the world to know their name. They'll get donations. They want to do the right-wing grift and play the role. That's what it is. It's a role. They know they'll make money and get power out of it. That's the other advantage to the right-wing grift. It's not just about getting direct payments from Russia, which a lot of congressmen, senators, etc. have gotten. Not all of them, though. Some of them just know the right-wing grift pays. And they're willing to, just like I told you in the other video, tell the same lies everyone else is telling. Because you can get paid. And I told you a long time ago, I'll tell you for the 90th time. If I was going to grift people, if I was going to run the game, just be on social media, just to make money, just that's my base reason, that's my goal. I do the right-wing grift. And I do it well. Because I know it. I've watched it. You know the ins and outs of it. And I'd probably be a millionaire in like 2 years. But I'm not that kind of person that can just jump on the right-wing grift and spout the Fox News, Alex Jones talking points and try and convince people that people like Bobo and Marge Green and Donald Trump and Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell are good people. No one actually believes that. They'll say it, though, for money. Like Sean Hannity. As long as it pays, baby. As long as I get some pretty girls out of it. As long as I get some money out of it. As long as I get a big house, vacation, home. Access to the president when it's an orange grifter. Can text message the grifter-in-chief himself. Right from the newsroom. That's worth a lot to a lot of people. That's why they're willing to do it. I'm not willing to do it. I can't do it. I know I'd make money at it, though. How many people out there would walk the same path I'm walking, knowing they could pull a grift like that? Because how many people are grifting in some way to make their money every day? Lying, selling, exaggerating, nudging, How many people be like, yeah, I know I'd be good at that and probably make me a millionaire in like 2 years, but I'm not going to do that. I think most people would do it, unfortunately. It's human nature for most people. I can't, though. I can't do the right-wing grift, sell some snake oil, gold sneakers, NFTs, gold coins, sell water, booze, steaks, bankrupt casinos, bury his wife in a fucking golf course. How have we not talked about that more as a country? His wife, ex-wife, fell down the stairs, in quotes, and now she's buried in a weedy golf course in New Jersey, is it? Which was nearly the epicenter of a recent earthquake. I'm talking like the latitude, longitude was almost exactly the golf course in question. Takes his wife, buries her on the golf course so he can get some type of cemetery tax exemption or some shit. I read the legal technicalities of turning your property into a cemetery, technically. The tax exemptions, and there's some kind of repossession exemption, like they're not allowed to take it away from you legally if it's a cemetery, something like that. With Donald, there's always a con, always a scam, always. That's all he knows. That's all he is. Down to his core. I'd say in his soul, but he don't have one. I don't even know where I was going with all that, but what the fuck was I trying to say? I can't, I just can't personally do that. I can't try and convince the world that that's disgusting, evil people are good people, so I could have a nice life, a nice, comfortable life, and a lot of money. A lot of people are doing that, and I know many of them don't believe what they're saying. They just know they can make a lot of money doing it. And they don't care what happens to the country. They could give two fucks as long as they have a big house, a fat bank account, beautiful car. They just could care less. It's one of the attitudes that will kill this nation. Hopefully there's more people that don't have that attitude, but let's be honest. What I've witnessed in my 40 some years on this planet, most people would do anything for a buck. They don't care who they gotta fuck over. They don't care how they would have to demean themselves, because they have to survive, and they're scared that if they don't operate that way in life, they won't survive, and they won't be able, if you're a man, you won't be able to support your wife and your children, and people will call you a loser, and you won't have the greenest lawn and the nicest car on the block and the nicest house and all that. Anyway, I'm rambling here. I need to just stop. I think you got my point. Ukraine feels slighted. I just wanted to read what Zelenskyy said, because he literally said what I told you, and I wanted to show you that, again, I'm not just pulling this stuff out my ass. This is really how people feel that are in the situation, and I'm disgusted that he and his people have not gotten help, and that Vlad and his shitty inmate, rapist, murderer soldiers are able to fuck with Ukraine right now. I want Ukraine to get help somehow, and because they were doing great while they were getting weapons, the weapons they needed. They were doing fine. They were doing great. I want that to be the situation, and I want it to be taken even further to where a Russian would rather die than walk into Ukraine. That's where I want it to end up. And I hope it does. So glory to Ukraine, and I hope everyone has a great day.